nod if you can see us, if you can hear us. I'm in good spirits today. Don't know why. Maybe because I'm with two old friends. We're going to have a good time. We've been having a good time. The good times will continue.
This is true.
So unfortunately, Jason is having some technical difficulties. Hopefully, he'll make it on. I've got my eye on him. So hopefully, he'll make it on. But for the moment, you're stuck with the three of us. Me, Mike, Analog Attack. Tony, nice to see you. It's been a while.
Thanks for having me on, Mike. It's great to see you and Jesse. I love it.
Yep. Jesse, first time on the show. It's been a long time.
Yeah, this has been a long time. I've been waiting for my gilded invitation.
When was it? Kyoto 2020?
2021.
2019.
2019.
Really?
We went to see.
Oh,
Louis and Terry.
Terry and Louis.
Terry and Louis at Pop Pizza. So
Firestarter.
Right, King Louis and Terry from Exploding Hearts doing a very Exploding Hearts style record, and then they played. There we go.
Yeah, I know.
There he is, Jason.
Yes.
We're on air. We're live.
That was really bad, guys.
It's okay. You're in a little. Can you move your phone on the other way? Oh, there we go. And reverse your camera.
Oh my God! Hey.
Hello. All right. So
can you hear me?
Messing about. Like and subscribe as always. Oh, I like today's color. Nice lime, key lime pie. There we go. Like and subscribe. There we go. Let's check out the chat. Chat's important. We need people in the chat to kind of. There you go. Kind of. There we go. All right,
Thanks.
Jason, you all set?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Oh man,
feel good?
Dude. Not really. That was really bad.
No, it's fine. I don't know what happened. But,
I don't.
Hey! Now it's all blown up.
I'm holding.
James is here.
Cheers, James.
Cheers, James. Palm's here. Hey, Palm. Cheers. How you doing? Hey. Rusty Von Hammerdown's in the house. Hey. There we go. Oh, there we go. Mike's in the house. Greetings. How you doing, Mike? Oh, Nat. Who else is here? Nathan Lehman's in the house. Jason. Shh. Hey, Scooter's here. Hey, here we go. Scooter's here. The gang's all here. Yes, the gang's all here. Dropkick Murphys.
I need to figure out a place to put this thing.
Okay, can we get started, Jason? Mike, should we get going? We've got 5 records each, as usual. Actually, for me, it was pretty easy this week. I didn't overthink it like I usually did. So I got my stack of 5 all set to go. We've each got 5 records. We're going to have a good time talking about them. I can't wait to see what everyone's picked. Everyone's really. Yeah, everyone's. I'm looking forward to everyone's picks tonight. And I'll say it again, the chat's important. Help us out on the chat. Contribute. Help us out. It's your show as well. Not just mine. Oh, Jesse, you've got
yes.
bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, you zoomed me in somehow. Thank you
did.
So much. No more bars.
Yeah, there you go.
I can see the records behind you, Jesse. You're flanked by some Jesse core. You got the futures. The futures right?
Yeah, there's the futures out.
Just as long as there's no earthquakes, everything's fine.
All right, I'm going to start things off with a little quiz. So if anybody can identify this record, 10 points, because I wouldn't have identified it a week ago. I can now, but I wouldn't have been able to before. So talking about this thing right here. Can you see it?
I can see it, but cannot identify
I
it.
can see
I
it,
can
but
see
don't
it,
know
but
it.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. Like I said, Jason. Shh. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to either. It is new to me. This is a band called Deceso por Causa Desconocida from Chile. Contemporary band who had like a demo tape and like a proper like cassette EP out. It's like self-released in Chile. And our friends at FOAD Records came to the rescue and put it out as a record. Jesus Christ, this is fucking incredible. So I'll read the hype sticker because it does kind of sum up what it sounds like fairly well. It's like the perfect blend of South American punk and hardcore and death rock from this incredible revelation from Chile. So this is basically what it is. It's like the hardest hitting like UK anarcho punk from like the 80s. That crazy overdriven guitar tone mixed with like, you know, Latino hardcore, Mexican hardcore punk, Brazilian hardcore, Mexican punk, Mexican hardcore. It's fucking crazy. I've never heard anything like this before. That kind of blend of those two styles together. Whew. Yeah, I mean, this is a raging record. It's crazy.
Gotta break out the pen and start writing it down.
Yeah, it's like DPCD for short. They go by DPCD. Confidencial is the name of the cassette EP, and then Demo, FOAD Records, 2019. I mean, some of it even sounds like, you know, like when Confused went a little bit psychedelic on that Stupid Life 12-inch. Like the slower bits even sound like a little bit like that. Yeah.
Intense.
Big surprise. I wasn't really expecting too much from this record, but man, it's really good record. Yeah, catchy too. You know, it's funny because it kind of builds up. Like the first two songs have those rolling drums and that kind of more like death rock pace beats, and then suddenly it just goes into this full bore, you know, like fucking old like Mexican hardcore or like. So yeah, really good stuff. Yeah.
That's cool.
The name means death from unknown causes. I looked it up. There you go.
Great name.
Yeah.
You've been
DPCD.
on a roll. You've been on a roll with me, Mike, because you pulled out. You suggested the sweet teeth record.
Yeah, that's a good one, right?
Which I love.
Good.
And then also you and Daniel together, the Tikeri record, which is also like a favorite. So
we're going to talk a little bit about that on my next pick. So I'm going to show it as a lead into my next pick.
Awesome.
So yeah, there we go. That's my first pick of the day. Check it out. I mean, I don't think anybody could be disappointed with this record. It's really good.
All right.
There you go. All right. Tony.
Am I up next?
First pick of the day.
All right. I didn't do any overthinking either. I just pulled things randomly from the pile of things that I've been listening to, and I tried not to think too hard about it. Although after pulling this record, then I pulled the cassette too, just for
all right,
for show and tell's purposes. So
nice.
Yeah, I pulled Corrosion of Conformities,
Hey.
6 songs with Mike singing, which is I guess like it's for sure my favorite COC release. I kind of today when I was thinking about it, I had already pulled it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna kind of AB these songs with the normal Eye for an Eye versions, and I was just like, no, I wasn't wrong. This is it. Like this is like definitively amazing. And I remember when I was a kid, this photograph, this artwork, just like endlessly fascinating to me. I just think this photograph is absolutely fucking crazy. And it just works perfectly. You know what I mean? I love it. I think I was pulled in by the photo and the layout, and then just obviously I just think these versions of the songs are just so much punchier, and the vocals are just like crazier coming from Mike. It's just awesome. I really love this. And it's like I own maybe all these earlier to mid COC records. I find myself constantly, this is the one that stays in the kind of I'm listening to pile more than any of the others, even Technocracy or Animosity or whatever. It's just always this one. And then just for fun, I pulled out the cassette version of it.
Ooh,
so double them up or whatever. If there was some other, if I had the CD version of it, I would have pulled that too. But yeah, so
how far?
like singing, yeah.
How far can you guys go in the COC like discography? Like, how far do you dare go into it?
I mean, yeah, I cannot go into the Pepper world.
No.
Not even, what is it? What's the first Blind? Is that
Blind?
The one?
Yeah.
The first. They were on MTV and stuff, and it's like a total changeover. I cannot even venture into that, which is ironic because there are plenty of bands that go well into Terribleville, and I am along for the ride. How can I sit here and shit on Blind when I'm just like, oh, Field Day is my favorite fucking Dynasty record? You know what I mean? Like, so I understand. Like, I have no hate for people that want to go into Blind and continue onward. You know what I mean? I couldn't, but there's plenty of other bands that did way, way, way worse that I.
Yeah, I think in the field of like stoner rock, they're not the best band in that genre either. You know, so but I can go pretty deep.
Yeah,
into it, but obviously it's a different band.
Going deep. I just I had to stop at a certain point, but you know,
definitely. I totally stopped at Technocracy.
What's that, Jesse?
Sorry? I was just saying I stopped at Technocracy. I mean, pretty much through my own fault. But what you were saying about the songs on 6 songs being like the best punchiest versions, I got to say there's something else for Eye for an Eye too, where it's like the perfect 80s sound of like a producer who doesn't know how to record punk and hardcore, and just the weird vibe of 20 fast, heavy ass songs, like all sounding the same. That's got its own different punchiness that like I always love that one a little bit more, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, totally cool. Of course I own like both a cassette and an LP of the normal Eye for an Eye, you know, as well. And I do still sometimes pull it out. You know, it's not that it's never pulled out or anything. It's just something about like when I was a kid and like the artwork and the photo is just so ridiculously over the top. And I'm like, he looks like an insane caveman playing that guitar on the cover. It's just like so crazy.
It's almost like kind of like Deviated Instinct.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway.
Yeah. Classic. For sure. All right, Jesse. What you got?
All right. Yeah. So yeah, just like since it's my first time, I want to make sure I didn't screw up. For people who don't know, like all these records behind me have been in boxes for about the past 15 years at my mom's house, and they're finally unleashed. So I mean, I haven't really listened to a lot, and when I do pull stuff out, now that it's all here, it's like, oh, I haven't listened to this in forever. So I've got a lot of nostalgic picks, I think. So one nostalgic thing that maybe not everybody knows or might not be familiar with, the Naughty Nites.
Oh, the Naughty Nites.
Anybody been knighted?
Yeah. Is that like
Naughty Nites?
Is it like retards related somehow?
Very good, Tony. 5 points to Tony. Yeah. So this one's on Honor. They had like 4 singles, I think. But 4 songs. It's Jack Oblivion and Rich from Retards. So Rich Crook. Yeah.
Crook.
Yeah.
Is he also in Lover? Also, is Rich Crook in Lover as well? Okay.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. So you know it's going to be super poppy, but also have its own like blues rock kind of thing coming from Jack. The songs are just immensely catchy, and this is like one of the first singles I pulled out after looking through everything. Like, oh, what do I want to listen to? This one. If you like Retards, if you like Jack Oblivions, if you like Honor Records stuff, this is a stone cold killer, and it's probably only $3 anywhere you go.
We like that.
Yeah, I mean, great song titles. Get Well in Jail. Very good advice. You can only imagine what's written on those lyrics. And then like one of the songs on the B side, they basically like rip off We Got the Beat for the first part. It's great. Everybody loves it. So yeah, highly recommend it if you find this. If you find the first 7-inch on Salud Sex Lovey Doll, that Italian like boutique garage label, please call me. I will take it off your hands.
See, I think there's a 7-inch that's a black cover with like a giant white Naughty Nites on the front and kind of like a pointy font. Is that the one that you're talking about, or is this a different?
That might be the one. Yeah, I mean, check the back.
I had all of them have come through Celebrated Summer in various times, and I don't know that I kept them. I liked them. I thought they were great when they came out. I don't know that I kept them in my collection, but like you saying this, I'm like, oh damn, I gotta like look or like start trying to dig those out.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's not something I'm gonna listen to every day, but like if I had to go DJ, it would be the perfect thing to get people moving. If I'm just like looking for nice, good stuff, and I don't want to listen to a full LP of Retards or Oblivions, this definitely scratches the itch. So it's very nice. A tasty tune.
I like the name of the band. I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I mean, it could have been like a fictional new wave of British heavy metal band, you know.
True. It's not the first thing I think when I think garage rock or like Gone Records or whatever, right? So that made it even better when I heard what it sounded like.
Nice. Naughty Nites.
Yeah.
I just love the name so much.
It's a great name.
It's a great name.
Yeah, I mean the cover's not bad either. You know, you got the bar over the knight's eyes. Who knows what he might be doing to that poor lady?
It looks a little bit like an Iron Lung Records kind of.
Yeah, they're like illustrations. Yeah, really good.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
All right, that's a great first pick. I just can't stop thinking about the name. Sorry, concentrate. All right, Jason, what are you ready?
Okay,
ready to rock?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm. I was having technical difficulties. I'm holding an iPad right now, but I'm doing my best. I apologize to you guys that this is the way it's going to go. But my first pick is a split LP, also going in the nostalgic direction.
Oh.
LP split. But this one means a lot to me. Connecticut shit.
Yeah.
Deformed Conscience.
Deformed Conscience.
Yeah, Deformed Conscience. With marled artwork and excrement of war.
Ah, there you go.
So there's
record, man.
from my perspective, there's really not a sound, from that area and that era that has been replicated with as much passion as Deformed Conscience, Dissension, throughout New England, and of course the UK counterpart, Excrement of War. And I've been listening to it lately, and I find that Excrement of War sounds more discharged than I remembered. Like I always thought of it as like Sticks in the band on drums and Mags on vocals is like one of the best vocalists I heard of that time period.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But the more I think of this, the more I listen to it, the song structure is more discharged than Doom or Crust with that level of heaviness. So I think they both complement each other very well, and it's an awesome split. That's the one I'm going to go with for my.
I've been listening to them a bit because they got the LP, the Cathode Ray Coma got reissued, and they had that the discography LP got put out too. So I've been listening to that discography record. It's got all the singles and comp tracks and stuff on it, and split the songs from that record on it too, right? So yeah, it's funny when they came along. Cause it was like kind of the beginning of it was like offshoots of Extreme Noise Terror and stuff.
Yeah,
Excrement of War, pretty crazy band name for the time. Yeah.
I'm going to be real and say that I have listened to the Deformed Conscience side many, many, many times. And as a poser, I've listened to the Excrement of War side way less times. But this conversation is going to make me break it out and flip the sides. It's hard. I love.
It's like
so much. And it's hard. I just
hear
side a lot of times,
Yeah.
Like Doom No Security Split, in my opinion, it's just like fantastic. But like people take, they have their opinion on which one's better, and I think that a lot of these they complement each other, and you know, there's like a different style, but they're like, you know, the passion's there, and it's, and you know, again, like as you pointed out, like listening to the Deformed Conscience side, you know, it's very punctuated. You know, growing up in the U.S. and going to shows in that area, actually. So it was more familiar to me, and then re-listening to it now, I don't know. You just appreciate different things more.
Sure.
Sometimes I like another side of a split more later.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. My homework: listen to the Excrement of War side more times. Like the get it back more into the in that too. Yeah, of course. I got to get it.
They call this progress. I think it's one of the most brutal, like, crust punk songs I've ever fucking heard. Like, Mag's vocals, there's something about it. Like, it just really hit that time period. You had pointed out that you picked up the cassette of Corrosion of Conformity, and I had like some bootleg CD of this. Nice. I finally got the vinyl like some years later, but I had the CD. You know, I picked up a bootleg at a show in Connecticut, and I don't know, it meant a lot to me. So that's
nice. Yeah, there's a couple of different lineups of Excrement of War, but the lineup with Mags is definitely the best lineup for sure. All right, round 2. I hinted that this record was going to be shown. It's not my pick, but like Tony hasn't had a chance to talk about it yet, and I know he loves it. And it's a kind of a lead into my next pick. Bear with me, it makes sense. So this year, for a lot of us, it's been about the Tikari. This is not my pick. This isn't my pick.
I'll just keep it tight and say
last song, side 1.
You and Daniel turned me on to that, and I play it constantly. It's really funny. I mean, this is just a quick aside. I order for Celebrated Summer. I have to order Taylor Swift records and just regular things, you know, that people want in the store. And of course, I still order tons and tons of punk stuff. The punk stuff that I order does not sell as well. I feel sometimes there's just less punks in Baltimore to buy it, but I just don't care. I order it no matter what. But every once in a while, a record comes out where I'll play it in the store and completely like just random moms and dads are like, what is this? And I've sold copies of that record to just like straight up random dads just in the store. Like, what is this? And I'm like, well, here it is. And it's just funny to see that sell, like just to have wide appeal, maybe.
Right.
A positive, happy record that there's no language barrier. You know?
Exactly. So that's not my pick. That's not my pick. But bear with me. So like that. This is from this year, right? And I feel like in 2021 there was a record that was kind of similar to that record that might have been overlooked a little bit. So I want to kind of remind people as well about how good that record is. If you missed it in 2021, so I guess maybe everyone is a big fan of the Toskos LP. This is not my pick, by the way. Bear with me. So, you know, this Toskos record from whenever it came out a few years ago, it's like Santa Ana, California, like Latino punk. This is like really like razor sharp and guitar driven and tight, right? The Toskos record. It's a great record. But like half of Toskos had this other band, the Power record in 2021, which is different. And I'm talking about the Prision Postumo.
Oh my god, that's
the Prision Postumo record, which is like not tight and not, you know, it's like really loose and sloppy and way more primitive and pogoable. It's like it's a record you want to pogo to, right? And it kind of reminds you of the Tikari record, and it's kind of like popish, like simplicity. And I'm just wondering if this one...
And like off key sometimes.
Right?
We're just like...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
everyone was going crazy about this record, and it cost me a lot of money when it came out at the time. There was only like 350 pressed or something, and I managed. I think Punk and Destroy got some in, but
I tried to order that for the store and was unsuccessful, which is a huge pet peeve of mine. When like new cool records come out and there's just no distribution, or the distribution is impossible. I ordered one copy for me. I can't remember what distro. It wasn't Sorry State. Somebody had a copy of that, and I just ordered one for myself. I really like it, but I was never able to get any for the store ever. So.
Yeah, it's self-released,
Yeah.
Only 350. The reason I've been listening to it this week is because I couldn't believe. So I bought this when it came out, right? So I was in a Disc Union the other day, Osaka. They had a used copy sat in there, and I was like, wow, okay. It was like it was 350 yen. And I was just like, what? Why the hell is a record like this good and this limited, priced so like stupidly low? So I bought it. So if anyone needs a copy, beg. You might.
But I paid a lot of money for that record. Like, I mean, not a lot of money, but like more than.
I'll give it to you when you come over.
I've got one. Yeah, I have one, but
you've got one. Okay.
It was definitely it was pricey to get it, and I was irritated that I couldn't get any for the store. I remember being very unhappy about that.
This is great. It does remind me of Tikari, and it's fun. It's simpleness. It's kind of primitive, off key, like Jason said. It's just great punk.
Yeah, punk for record. Sure. Yeah, it was like. I don't know why I got it. I don't remember when it was recommended to me, but I picked it up and I was like, the first listen, I was like, I don't know. It's like, what? I'm not really that into this. And then I kept coming back to it as like just something to, and then the more I listened to it, I was like, this is really like, has like a real vibe to it. And I was like, I had expectations of like the speed or whatever I was expecting. It was just doing its own thing, and I finally got on level with that, and I was like, this is fucking great. This album rules. I a lot of times I think that like a record that I'm not sure about the first listen, by the sixth or seventh, I'm like, this is fucking fantastic.
They tend to be the best ones, right? In the over the long term.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. I didn't like it at all because I already had the Toskos record, which I love. It's so different to that, right? But great record.
Yeah, that record's great. I love it.
All right, Tony.
Back at me. Another. I bought. I guess this one I pulled, so I had maybe some thoughts about it. I bought this record when it came out in 1991, and I liked it right away, even though it got kind of shit on, I think, at the time. I've listened to this record, I mean, I don't even countless times since 1991. Whoa, what did you do to this record? I've listened to this record countless times since it came out in 1991, and I've listened to podcasts about it and interviews with people, and it is no more understandable to me than it was the day I heard it. So that is, it just got reissued too. This is De La Soul is Dead. Whoa, that's probably not. There we go. I don't think the bars work very well. There we go. That's probably
there. You go. That's not my fault.
De La Soul is Dead, the second De La Soul record, and I really took to this when it came out. I liked it, but it was super confusing to me. I kind of didn't know why I liked it so much when it came out. It's dense to the point of unlistenable. I mean, in parts. There's nothing but skits and jokes and inside jokes that seem like even if you knew the people involved, you wouldn't understand them. I'm no closer. I listened to a podcast, Prince Paul, the guy that did the production, he did a podcast where he spoke at length about the inside jokes and the skits within skits that are on this record and tried to explain them. And I seriously feel no closer to understanding almost anything about this record. Then again, the day that I bought it cold, off of out of the mall, like on cassette. And I brought the cassette too. I have a cassette version here. And then there's
everything tonight has a cassette version.
There's this like pressing as well. And just to add to the confusion of this one, all of these have different track listings. The cassette has a ton of songs that are not. Some of the songs are not on this new version that they couldn't clear samples or things. There's some stuff on this that's not on this, and then there was a ton of CD singles that also had weird skits and extra songs that I don't think were ever collected on anything. So it's just like, I don't know, kind of weirdly depressing compared to the first record, and just dense and complicated, but still a very, very, very entertaining listen. And I've liked it for a really long time. So I've been revisiting it a bunch because they just reissued it. So had an excuse to listen to it in the store. So.
I don't think I've ever heard that one.
I haven't either. I mean,
it's a listen.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, when I played it, when it got reissued and I listened to it at the store, and that had been maybe the first time I'd listened to it in a little bit of time, I was like, man, it's been like 15 minutes and it's just jokes and like skits. I'm like, has there even been a song yet? Like at all? It's like just such a wild ass record. And I mean, the first record had elements of that too. There were skits and, things on the first De La Soul record, but the second one really just amps it up to almost the point of ridiculousness where you're just like, what am I even listening to? It's funny, but I don't know. It's just crazy. So it's a crazy record, I guess. Like,
nice.
Yeah, I can just remember like the first album, the cassette was like a holy grail for me and friends when we went to like the tape and CD store or whatever when we were in probably 5th grade. I can't remember. I know I rode my bike there. I know it was beside the rental store. But I had to choose between the Black Album and that, and I chose the Black Album. And now I'm here. So I don't know what that says. But maybe I should have chosen the first De La Soul record instead. I don't know, man. But yeah, I mean, that sounds cool. I want to check it out now that I hear about just how different it is from that first one.
It's just dense, man. It's like, I can't imagine I mean, again, I've read about it. I've listened to podcasts about it. I feel no closer to like grasping to what they were really attempting to do here. Right. I mean, some of it's hilarious and some of it is super depressing and it's like really weird. I don't know. I love it. I mean, it worked for me. I loved it then and I love it now, but it's like an object of like non-understanding for me. Like I can't, it's like impenetrable to me in some ways, I don't know why. So
cool. Beautiful.
Did we lose Jason?
No, he's still here. We lost Jason. Jason, yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think like it doesn't work well on the iPad. He might come back. We'll see. All right, Jesse, what's your second pick?
Yeah, my second pick. I just pulled this out today. Something else that I hadn't listened to in a while. I've been listening to something else of theirs in the car. So I've got a car with a CD player, and like just now and then I pull a bunch of CDs, but this is not a CD. But I do have some of their other stuff on CD. Party of Helicopters.
Party of Helicopters.
Tony might be familiar. Mike, I'm not so sure.
No, not familiar.
The name, yes, and having that record come through Reptilian in the time frame, but I actually have never listened to them or seen them, so this will be a new one for me.
Yeah, so like my first time I heard them, like they played in the like Baltimore DC area a lot in the early 2000s when I started going to gigs. And yeah, I dug it. It was cool. People I was friends with would go see them or put on their shows. So it's a band that I had always listened to from a long time ago. And I don't know how to describe it. So as I was listening to it today, I'm like, so what other bands sound like Party of Helicopters? And like, I can't think of much. So one that came to mind that I'm familiar with, at least, this band Elder. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Europe. Yeah, very long songs. Now they're like more into krautrock. They used to be more progressive and like guitar-based like
Elder are
hard...
from the road. Elder are from like Boston, Rhode Island area, right?
No, I thought
Yes.
they were from Europe.
No.
Okay. Well, that shows what I know.
Yeah, Armageddon label, pal. Their early stuff. Same label as Drop Dead and whatever. Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
This is what happens when you only download MP3s. You don't read anything about where a band's from. But the amount of like guitar mastery going on in here, just when I was a guitarist, when I was like 20 or whatever, it blew my mind. I'm like, holy shit, this guy knows how to play. He now runs like a guitar effects company, Earthquaker Devices. For anyone who might be watching, like they make some really great effects pedals for guitars. But I don't know, I'm just really impressed with the musicianship on this. It's, when I looked on Discogs, it like listed it as like math rock or like emo or something like that. And I can see where it gets lumped in from the period. But like, it's not, you know, screamo, it's not emo. It's just kind of like progressive rock, played by punks who have an amazing guitarist, and the vocals also are just like, I don't know how they recorded the vocals. It's like one guy singing over himself doing like a rough track. It's so weird and good and just very, it's just good. So this was, I think, the second LP.
Okay.
There's one before this, and then there were also some like 12-inch singles and 7-inch singles afterwards. But it's probably only $3 or $4. Probably very easy to find no matter where you are. If you like guitar-based rock, which who doesn't, can't be that bad, right? So give it a shot. Yeah.
I mean, prog played by punks. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like when I first heard it, I didn't know what to think of it. I just knew it was good music, one of those kinds of things. And then like afterwards, it's just kind of like, wow, you know, like knowing that what they've done, and everybody's chiming in about Earthquaker. So they're in Ohio, where I also am right now. The guitarist owns a bar up in Kent, Ohio. He puts on gigs. He plays in a band now. I unfortunately don't remember their name, but yeah, like I'm looking forward to seeing him and his band and everybody going on sometime in the future. So
nice pick, man.
Yeah.
Jesse, I think I'm remembering now. I think you're saying they played a lot in Baltimore. I think they played with Blank, Ryan Shulkett's pre-Cross My Heart band. I think I saw them at that venue, the Small Intestine, in like maybe the late 90s or something like that. I have no recollection of the records or even what they sound like, but I can now see kind of like on the flyers, like I feel like they played shows with Blank and other bands around here for sure. So I must have seen them at some point. But,
like I saw them at Goucher University, you know, like in the dining hall.
Who's that?
Like that?
Who's that with? Do you remember?
I want to say like maybe with like Stars of the Dogon, like Corey Allender's old band, or like Brian's band, you know. Like that's what I remember being linked with a lot. Maybe they weren't even there, like the news were just there. But
I feel like they played a Small Intestine with Blank, but
and I've seen them in DC, like in the DC area. They played some art gallery shows with like, I want to say maybe Q and Not You, or maybe one of those 2000s Dischord like noisier bands. But that might just be projecting, or I don't know.
Likely that that's the case.
All right, that's a great pick.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Yeah, nice. I'm gonna definitely check that out for sure. Absolutely. All right, Jason, are you with us? Are you ready?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, apologies again. Like
that's okay.
I got too excited. I moved around the room, and
it's like every time you move, it's a big noise.
Yeah, I don't need to. I'm not gonna do that again. I think I'm just gonna hold up the screen. Just get through this. This has been fun. I also want to, apologize to the viewers and Tony, because De La Soul is Dead is like a favorite, if not like my most favorite rap album ever. And I used to skateboard to that all the time, and it means so much to me. And I was just crushed to see that on the video, and I wasn't even there to like comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I love it.
No, that's me.
Yeah. I know I was kind of going on a bit about its density and inscrutableness, but like
it's so fun. Me and my buddy.
Yeah.
We used to carry the tape deck around the mall, and we used to like play it loud. and like we thought we were like fucking with people with like the Walkman.
Yeah.
And as you pointed out, like the level, you know, Millie pulls a gun on Santa, for example,
Super
and like
dark.
fantastic album. But sorry I wasn't there. So stupid.
It has bursts.
It sucks.
So weird. It'll just be like inscrutable in jokes and weird songs and depressing songs and bursts. Roller skating jam name. You know what I mean? Like, and just like these.
And then there's Saturdays, which is like.
And Saturday. Yeah, exactly. Right.
The most perfect.
All right, Jason, what's your next pick? Second pick. Right?
I love this album art. Confidencial, Laufer. This is like krautrock. This is from the era of Cluster Can. I love this artwork. It's super 80s. Yeah, super good instrumental stuff. So I've been listening to it a lot lately, and I was thinking about like, why do I like it? And when I was a kid, that track on Van Halen, Fair Warning, Sunday Afternoon in the Park, one. So I used to listen to that over and over. Like,
nice.
Yeah, I remember like second grade, just like listening to it over and over, and like I love that, you know, instrumental, like, you know, just spaced out music. And this one is very good. Late 70s reissue. You know, if you're a fan of Can or Tangerine Dream, or you know, Cluster, Zuckerzeit, that kind of vibe. I mean, there's no vocals.
Right.
It's just early experimental, industrial, all that, you know, craft work, but prior to that. So I had never heard of this band, but
I haven't either. Is it on Brain Records?
Unknown Capability Records.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got turned on to it through Bandcamp actually, and it's just feel good instrumental, but with that kind of weird darkness of that track, that Van Halen track, but it's German from the late 70s. But yeah.
So it's a current band, right? It's not like a 70s.
No, it's not. It's not a current band.
Okay.
It's from the era of like Can and Cluster, late 70s.
Wow. Let's check the band name one more time.
Yeah.
Confidencial Laufer. The Secret Cosmic Music of the East German Olympic Program, 1972-83.
Yeah. Now I'm even more excited.
It gives me a reminder. It kind of like, you know, when I first heard Amandul, you know, and I was just like, what the fuck? like you know, like all these song titles and album names that were just fucking out there, but not as heavy as like a Hawkwind or something.
Right.
But it's just really psychedelic.
Nice.
That's so nice of them to share the secret. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I've always dabbled into the prog. I mean, like, I love Can, I love New. But when I look at that prog bin, it's like, what's next? I have no clue, and I can't just justify $30, $40, $50 on what's next. So this might be the
right.
next
Yeah. I totally agree. I'm like more into like whatever, you know, punk, hardcore things but I do like. Anyway, it reminds me, like, you know, like you take like Faust 4, you know, the song krautrock, and it's like 11 minutes long, and it has that structure, you know, it has the long song, and then it has like upright song, and then it has a downer song, no vocals, really good stuff.
Nice. I'm gonna check that out. All right, my turn. Right, round 3. When I was talking about the Prision Postumo record, Jeff commented that there was like a little bit of an Oi influence on that record, and I was like, yeah, there is actually. And also, my next pick does too. and it's also from California, but it's an old one. It's like from like 1983 it came out. And I actually switched my third pick out for this because it's been like glued to my turntable. It's one that I had on cassette tape. Like I probably got the cassette tape in like 1986, like 1987. I remember like playing it a lot back then. It's the first time I've ever owned it on vinyl, and it's a great record and I love it. And here we go. Pariah, Youths of Age, Posh Boy Records. It's like, man, this is like, it's a classic, but it's like an unsung classic, I want to say. I guess they made like one album. They had a couple of comp tracks on like Rodney and the Rock and like Not So Quiet on the Western Front. They put this record out. They put another record out, which is terrible, I hear. But this, man, it's like this huge production, like super catchy. It's like kind of like, it's like Californian, like UK 82. It's how I hear it. It's like a little bit of GBH in there. And Channel 3 is the biggest comparison, I want to say. Channel 3. I mean, Channel 3, not to talk about Channel 3 too much, but Channel 3 is the only like American band that got like signed to No Future, right? The UK label. So Pariah is kind of similar to Channel 3, like UK 82, but made in like the California sunshine. It's just amazing. It's like, I mean, you know, it is. It's like catchy. There's a little bit of oi in there. There's a little bit of GBH in there, but it's also got that like, you know, Californian like poppiness to it as well, with this huge like Posh Boy production.
I've never heard that record. So.
Oh man, it's right up your alley. Like you'd love it.
And I don't think it's ever come through the store. I don't think I've ever seen that cover, which is just weird, right? That's random that I've never had that come through.
This is a Get Back reissue. So
yep,
from like 10 years ago, maybe.
Italian.
Yeah, it sounds great. No, they did Dischord and stuff. I mean, you could probably get an original for cheap used, I'm thinking. Yeah.
It's strange because, I mean, again, you'd think I would have ran into that somewhere, but I've never seen that cover before. So it sounds like another one to
look at these dudes, man.
Notebook.
Cool. Yeah. That reminds me of Kraut.
That's another good comparison. There you go. That's another good comparison.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, so that's I got rid of my other third pick because I've actually been playing this all week. It's funny because it kind of starts off slow. It's a title track is the lead off track, and it's the slowest song on the record, and it kind of gradually builds up more and more speed. And Jesse, you know this record?
I don't. I feel like there's some promising song titles though. Are there any good ones in there?
All the King's Men. No,
that's not bad.
Blind Resistance, White Line. I know, just great California punk, but with a UK influence running.
Right.
I would say, yeah, that's fine. Check it out, everyone. It's a little bit, I want to say, overlooked and underrated. I always hate to say that because I don't know, but it kind of feels that way a little bit to me. Yeah, there you go. Pariah, Youths of Age, Posh Boy. Oh, this got Tim Yo, because Jason's here. We were talking about this before. I kind of have been looking through the Maximum Rocknroll archives, and it's funny because Tim Yo gave this like a really good review, like when it came out.
Always a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he compares it to Channel 3 too. So there you go.
I was looking for, I wish I could remember, but I was looking for a band, and then and his review came up, and I was like, oh man, it was so great, and it was so succinct, you know, it's just like a short.
Wow.
I feel like I was just like blah blah blah. Like
I was actually gonna. We might talk about that a bit later because let's do it later. We might touch on those very succinct short reviews because they're very good. I think we need to get back. Yeah. All right, Tony. What's the second pick of the day?
In the closet next to me, I have MRR 1 through 100, and scattered after that. But 1 through 100 is in the closet, and every once in a while, I'll pull some randomly out. And I'm the two things that fascinate me are how people reviewed records that are now seen as like unassaultable.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you know, what did they think of SOB record when it came out? What did they think of Negative Approach 7-inch when it came out? I'm fascinated by that.
Unrelenting thrash from Japan, which never lets up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
And then when you get into like around issue like 90 and like just beyond issue 100 into like 120, 130, 150, I'm fascinated when I look at, and I was buying those issues at the time, you know what I mean? Once we get past issue 100, I was probably buying them in real time, you know, when they were coming out. But I look at them and I just go, oh, like the Infest record came out the same time as this Garage Rock record, and like they're both reviewed next to each other. I'm like fascinated by records that I would never think shared the same time kind of frame.
Press space.
They were both recorded and sent in and reviewed in MRR right next to each other. And I'm like, that's just okay. So the New Bomb Turks record came out the same time as a crossed out record. I'm just like, you know, it's like my brain, like it's just like
it's like the way shows used to be. You know?
Yeah.
You're like these two bands, these bands would play together and be like, okay, we're all here.
I think
we just want to have a good time.
Yeah,
we don't have a router.
Yeah.
We just want to go.
It's
go
fun
to a show.
You know, I'm just like, what? Yeah, but it's you just don't think about it, but you're just like, there it is, like in black and white. Like this stuff was all happening concurrently.
Yeah.
And what did I miss? You know, what was I doing when this other thing was happening? You know.
Oh, right, yeah.
Fascinating. So,
nice.
Before I just real quick before I pull my pick real fast, because you were talking about Channel 3. I don't know if anybody's watched it. This comedian Chris Estrada has a television show on Hulu called This Fool, and it's not like the plot of the show isn't really punk centric, but his character and his ex-girlfriend's character are clearly punks because he's often wearing you know, Krudos or like you know, Generation Suicida or like Germs t-shirts, like in every scene. You know, there's like lots of punk shirts, but in the newest the second season just came out, and the entire episode he's wearing a Channel 3 shirt. So this is like we just watched it upstairs, and I was literally just thinking about Channel 3. I was just like, oh yeah, wow, that's a interesting pick for a t-shirt for the show. You know, I mean, clearly he likes the bands and he's choosing the shirts to wear, but I'm like, Channel 3, that's wild. And then having you mention it in comparison to the Pariah, okay, now I need to like this universe clearly trying to tell me.
It's
something.
Jesse and Tony. I think you'll both really like that Pariah record. I think.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, I'll keep this one short.
Not me though.
I thought you'd already heard
it. Yeah. So this one, I feel like this one got lost in the fastcore glut of the time period. You know what I mean? But I really, really, really love this record. This is Sprout.
Jesse Core.
It is cool, and I'm gonna say it was chosen with Jesse in mind, and also me. It is pure Jesse. I love this fucking record. I love the artwork. It has, you know, I don't know why I can't do a million songs on it. It has a million songs on it. It's not just fastcore. It's clearly like also teen generate influenced. So it's like one part fastcore, but definitely one part rock and roll, one part rip-off records style, you know, mixed together. And I just love it. I feel like it just got forgotten. Nobody cares. Nobody thinks about it. I'm sure
it's on
wherever it is, it's a buck. And what a fun record. And I wish I could remember, I saw them on a trip to Japan, and the drummer, the singer, and he was wearing a Howard Cosell style 1970s like headset, like football announcer, but like one from the 70s. So it was huge on his head with like a microphone piece that was like, you know, monstrous. And he was playing drums and singing using that headset, but then he would stop playing drums and jump up on his seat and like do jumps off of the seat and then like crash down on the drums. Or I think I even saw him run out into the crowd. The rest of the band would play. They're like a 3-piece, and the rest of them would keep playing, but he would stage dive, and the drums would just stop, but they would keep playing, and then he would just run back and start playing drums again. It was like as sloppy and fun as the record really is. It's pretty wild. Somebody asked in the chat who put it out. Sound Pollution. Ken Sound Pollution put this out. So
does this band have anything to do with the Doo-Doos who Ken's Sound Pollution?
I love that.
I knew you.
I love that. That's like more pop punk, right?
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, right? Yeah. This one's definitely just faster and not really any pop punk elements. I don't know if any members crossed over into those two bands, but
just came to mind when Japanese like sound.
Yeah, this one's so much fun. And there's another Sprouts record. There's like a split 7-inch, and they do a bunch of covers on that one. But this is the one to own. This is a great one. So
that's a blast from the past. That's like late 90s, early 2000s, right?
I mean, the fastcore glut. So early 2000s, I believe. It doesn't say, but like I would be betting 2002 to 2000, something like that. Let's see if I'm right. 2003.
There you go. There you go. 20 years ago.
A brave choice.
In honor of Jesse Core, I had to pull one, and it's a favorite of mine. So.
There you go.
Thank you.
I need to seek that out.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like, I don't know, Sprouts versus a lot of those other bands at the times, they use very little distortion. Wow. So like, if Exclaim was too much, if, bands like that were way too much for you, then Sprouts is just right up your alley. And I think the Team Generate comparison is a really good one too, because like
you can tell that those dudes were listening
to
like
the rock songs. Yeah. They're just 20-second rock songs versus 20-second thrash songs, right?
Yeah. Gotcha. I think the other times I've been on here, I've picked something from Rip-Off Records. You know what I mean? Every time I have to I feel the need to pull like a different, like Zodiac Killers or the Infections or one of those bands.
Chinese Millionaires? Are they on Rip-Off?
Chinese Millionaires. I feel like the members of Sprouts owned all of those records and also, other fastcore records, and just felt like melding them into like one thing or so.
Right. Nice. All right, Jesse. What you got?
Yeah. Let me think.
Review your choices.
Yeah. So, I think I'm gonna pull this one.
Okay. Haze Maze.
Haze Maze. Yeah, Haze Maze.
The
band name.
Yeah.
News of the Damned. The album title.
I've got an album by that band, but it's not that one.
Yeah. You might have the first or the third, because this is the second. And I don't think there's anything else.
Swedish stoner rock?
Yeah, so like Swedish heavy Sabbath worship.
Yeah, they're good at it. They're a good band that does that.
So that's the thing. Like, I listen to so much of this crap on YouTube, and like the vocalists never do it for me, but this band is like, yes, they're so like right on with everything. But the big standout on this, if you haven't heard it, the kick drum. It sounds like it's fucking 20 feet tall. I don't know how else to describe it, but it just sounds like there's this drummer like banging on a kick drum, and then everything else is just icing on top of that. The production is amazing. Yeah, like I don't know. For a bunch of Swedish dudes living in Stockholm, when I visited Stockholm, he took me to this Mexican restaurant underground, and they have like a hand-drawn menu. They serve the Tres Hombres centerfold, but they call it the Four Hombres. So like a 4-person thing, and it's all this hand-drawn menu, like done R. Crumb style. I feel like these guys work in the kitchen. It's just straight up Sabbath worship song titles. Like on this one, it's all serial killer themed.
Oh.
And like,
Oh, that's a Church of Misery ripoff.
Yeah, Church of Misery.
Yeah, and like I don't really like the idea of glorifying serial killers, so that's always made me a little uneasy about this. But yeah, I mean, like, what Thrill Seeker is what BTK, for Mike, Solicitor of Evil. I don't know who that was. Reverend Death is like some pastor who would like do assisted suicide with members of his congregation and stuff. So it's pretty wild shit, lyrically wise. But this version on Heavy Psych Sounds from Italy, no lyric sheet, unfortunately. I think the OG has lyrics and stuff like that. But
I think that only came out on Heavy Psych Sounds, I want to say.
No, it came out on another label too.
Okay.
Like it was released first on some other, I don't know if they were Swedish or just American label, but Heavy Psych Sounds picked it up in the 2020s or 2021 or whatever. But if you're into Sabbath, if you're into just heavy stoner psych stuff, and you haven't heard this yet, this is a high recommendation for me.
You've opened the floodgates, because I listen to a ton of that stuff, and it's all over there. That shelf behind me, it's just all like stoner, and I've hesitated to show those kind of records on this show, but I'm going to from now on, because I do listen to a lot of that stuff. But like the whole genre is like a lot of genres are minefields. The stoner rock thing is
it's so bad. There's so many bad.
95% of it is bad, but the 5% is kind of worth. Out, I would say that was a surprise to me. That is a really good band, Haze Maze. I think I had the third album. I think.
So third one is it's got like a black and reddish cover.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, the first one is black with a big circle and like yellowish. But this one I love. The third one I love. The first one a little slower, but still good. I mean, they still do a great job. Unfortunately, I think they're like on hiatus. So.
Okay, I thought they had a new album come out. Maybe it's a reissue of the first album or something. I saw it on Amazon. Heavy coming soon. Haze Maze.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah. So, but super cheap on Bandcamp now too, I think. So.
Oh yeah.
For a taste.
Like I said, I can go pretty deep with COC. That's so I can deal with that.
I was thinking of Iron Claw.
Iron Claw is old 70s like Scottish band, which is more like like they're a good band too, though. Like old. They're an old band. But Haze Maze are a bunch of young Swedish chaps, right?
I mean, I don't know if I'd say young, but
All right, let's move on to Jason's next.
Okay, not that I would want this to be a theme, but serial killers. This is a Finnish band. I've a couple of their albums, and I've listened to both of them just to prepare for this show, and they're both phenomenal. I think that they deserve a lot more recognition, but it's Hapoja.
That's a hard one to read backwards.
It's backwards?
Yeah, because your camera's reversed, but I didn't want to tell you because you've already got enough to deal with, so it's like...
This is just terrible, man.
It's okay.
Haapoja. It's Finnish.
Okay. Is it on Spot Records?
It is on Nerve... My friend in Brooklyn, Aaron Nichols, he played in Defeatist, and that's his record label in Brooklyn. So
okay, cool.
Shout out to that. But I think this band is absolutely fantastic. The Finnish kind of black metal-ish, but there's like punk roots, obviously. I mean, I kept thinking when I was a kid, my stepfather went to Finland, and he's like, it was so quiet, so quiet there. And then like when you consider Finnish punk or metal, there's a certain style to the vocals, like sung like through the teeth, it's just like fucking. It teeters on punk and metal and black metal, and it just like it doesn't go too much in either direction, so it's just like fantastic in that regard.
Nice. That's
But,
a new one.
yeah.
You're right. Finnish bands have a certain atmosphere to them, whether it's like punk or metal.
Yeah, you can. There's a sense of like the vocal styling that just feels like folkish, you know, in the delivery, and the musicianship is fantastic. And it has like, you know, punk driving parts, but it also has like metal blast parts, and I just think they're a great underrated band.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
I think Jesse just got a fresh
Sorry about that. Had to go grab one.
There you go.
My boring water, flavored water.
Yeah.
All right. My fourth pick is definitely nostalgia, and I'm going to enjoy talking about this record because it kind of takes me back to like a period of my life where actually I wasn't buying a lot of records just because I didn't have a lot of money. That's all. That's the only reason. But I was going to a lot of shows. I want to say that like between 86 and 89 was a period of time where I kind of went to like the most shows ever. And a lot of them like, especially like touring bands. I love like American touring bands who come to England and from Europe. It was a great time. It was a great kind of time of my life, in my life. And I actually re-bought this record, and I haven't owned this record since, I guess I sold it when I moved to Japan. So I haven't owned it on vinyl since then. And I found a copy last week, and I was like, whoa, here we go. Great. It's been a while. And it's going to be a hard sell, this one, maybe, like especially to youngsters, because let me show the record. I'm talking about the Rhythm Pigs.
Oh, yeah, Rhythm Pigs.
And Choke on This, which is like their second LP. They had some singles, which people like better. They were like less experimental on the singles. They kind of got more experimental and more influences on, especially on this record. But Texas band, like from El Paso, but they relocated to San Francisco in the 80s, and this record came out on Mordam Records. And I saw them like twice in England. They were incredible. There's three guys, unassuming guys, not belong to any genre. It goes back to kind of what we were talking about. It was a time where all these like micro genres and like, you know, hadn't been invented yet. So to us, they were just like a punk band or a melodic hardcore band. That was about as far as you'd go in like describe them. I saw them twice. I actually found the flyer for one of the second show where I saw them. If we look at the flyer, we'll kind of it'll all make sense. We look at the lineup. Let's bring him on. There he is.
Oh wow!
There he is. Rhythm Pigs, Heresy, Visions of Change, and Decadence Within. That would have been October 1987. There you go. Sorry, yeah, I remember.
Great flyer.
It's a great flyer, right? Heresy, 14. Yeah, it just takes me back. But like this record, it's kind of like melodic hardcore, but with all these like other influences, like jazzy. It's a little bit jazzy, like the Victims Family or like the Inbred or like those kind of bands.
Rape Teenagers, kind of.
What's that?
You know, Rape Teenagers.
A little bit of that. There's a little bit of that quirkiness, but very American though. It's like, you know, more like. But yeah, I hear what you're saying though. Very off kilter. They'll have like a straight up melodic hardcore song, and then they'll go into like a kind of jazzy kind of break.
Yeah, like progressives.
Yeah, and they do like a Hendrix cover, and they're really, really, really good musicians. Like Stop on a Dime. But I was listening to this, and it's like, man, like I don't know if like anybody like under 30 would be like into this record. And I remember like people talking about this record in recent times and saying this band kind of sucked, and like, but I don't know, man. It's a good record. But very varied, you know. But the melodic hardcore songs are really good in the style. But like, you know, it kind of does go all over the place a lot. But
that cover art and like the type at the top is fucking awesome.
Yeah, never heard them.
Really?
I never.
Records have come through the store, and something about the name, maybe I was just like not ready to take the leap to put it onto a turntable. So I never gave it a shot. But
I mean, yeah, it was on Mordam Records. It was just at that time where hardcore punk was getting like a little experimental. People were doing whatever they wanted to do. And actually, there's also, this is funny, and I didn't plan this, there's an anti-maximum rock and roll song on this record. And I don't know why. They kind of got a bad review, but I feel like the song came out before, because it was a review of this record. So obviously, I don't know why they wrote an anti-maximum rock and roll song, but
kind of seems like a waste of time.
Yeah, it was like Big Brother's little brother. It's like the chorus. It's like fuck, like yeah.
Strong feelings.
Big Brother's little brother.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they all live in San Francisco, like relocated from Texas. It might be like a anti-Tim Yohannan song, because the song with it's like, I need a cigarette. It's like the
fucking San Francisco, man.
I don't know, man. I just thought it was.
I hear you, dude. I hear you.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's kind of petty, but there you go. It happened.
Yeah, sure as fuck does.
Yeah, but anyway, Rhythm Pigs, choke on this.
Next time,
I can't wait to listen to all this shit.
Check it out.
Sprouts, Rhythm Pigs.
Little Brother is the name of the song. It's the anti-maximum rock.
Right on.
That makes me want to see the maximum reviews that they got.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. Their singles got really good reviews in Maximum Rock and Roll. I checked it out. Yeah. So
I mean, like every decade, there's some like anti-maximum sentiment of some kind, right, by some group of people. So it's bound to happen.
Yeah, it was just funny. I don't know.
Sometime in the later '90s, I was visiting a friend in San Francisco, and I went and saw a very late '90s show. It was like Man or Astroman and the Mr. T Experience and the High Fives. And, it was a fun show or whatever. And everybody leaves. And then there's like, I'm like, drifting slowly out. And there's a T-shirt left, like a gross, sweaty T-shirt left on the floor. And I pick it up, and it's I Hate Maximum Rock and Roll T-shirt that somebody had like left behind or whatever. And I kept it. And then I don't think I ever wore it. I gave it to my friend Keeve, who I think still has it. I'm not really sure. But I just thought it was funny to find it there, just like randomly laying on the floor. I was just like, oh, that's an artifact from my trip. So
nice.
Yeah, gave it away.
Things. Jason, someone said that you look okay, like you're not the wrong way around on the YouTube stream, so don't worry.
Yeah,
it's fine. And then
one last battle.
Artie
Thank you for saying that.
Watching this stoned is a bad idea. I just bought.
No, please stay.
Just stay stoned until it shows up, and you'll be fine.
It's only gonna get more stoned.
Artie.
Okay, Artie, how you doing?
I finally decided to leave my iPad.
Just leave it. Yeah, just put it on a shelf.
Yeah, just stop moving.
Stop moving. Okay. All right. I'm lost.
Well, okay.
It's Tony's pick, right?
All right.
Yes.
So,
all right.
This one's been in the pile. I've been playing it a lot. This is. See if I can do this without. There we go. Maybe. There we go. Blacktop. I've got a bad feeling about this. And this is a Mick Collins project in between the Gories and the Dirt Bombs, I guess, sometime in there. I'm a huge Mick Collins fan. I love the Gories. I love the Dirt Bombs. I like the Screws, which was another kind of like lesser known, kind of like I don't think they pursued the Screws for very long. And I also don't think Blacktop lasted for very long either. Dirt Bombs seems to be the longest running, and most varied band of his. But I'm a fan of almost everything that he's done. And Blacktop just kind of fell between the cracks, I think, of the Gories and the Dirt Bombs. But it's a little more it's like more put together than the Gories, and also more consistent than the Dirt Bombs. The strength of the Dirt Bombs is just that they can play any style of music. There's like poppy songs and like total trash garage rock songs and like everything in between. And so when you listen to some of those Dirt Bombs records, you're getting a little, especially like the singles collection, you're really getting a lot of different production styles and in just different styles as well. But the Blacktop record is like super consistent, just like wall of guitar noise, blues, rock and roll. It's just real solid. I mean, even the Screws, which I guess was another of those side bands, is still kind of erratic in its nature. When you listen to those Screws records, it doesn't quite hang together as like one solid thing. It's fun, but the Blacktop record really does. It feels like one super solid, like they just kind of stuck to one, blown out kind of howling guitar, garage rock, blues vibe, and kind of kept with it for the entire album, as opposed to various things. Like the Screws covered like I Hate Music by the Mad, and then a more rock and roll song, and then something else. And again, obviously the Dirt Bombs, many different styles over many different records. But yeah, the Blacktop record is really fun. I think it's In the Red put it out pretty early. There's another version of it that has other songs, and then there was a compact disc I think that In the Red did that was like it was like both versions of the record as one complete, because I guess there's like a 7-inch as well, or maybe 2. And then, so there's a discography CD of everything, but then there's also this LP. And yeah, if you like garage rock, bluesy garage rock, but like also with like really cranked up, howling, noisy guitars, it's kind of like, that's the vibe, basically. So
I've seen that used on the Disc Union.
Oh, the Blacktop record used.
You're going to make me buy it, aren't you?
If you like the Dirt Bombs, you know what I mean, or the Gories or the Dirt Bombs, if you like that kind of stuff, yeah, for sure, it's certainly worth having. It's a very consistent, like well put together record. So yeah, Blacktop, Mick Collins.
I love. There we go. All right, damn, I have a bad network connection. What's going on there? Am I freezing or anything?
You're getting a little shaky.
Me, man.
Yeah, it happens. I don't know. Jesus. Okay, let's. Jesse, what's your next pick, man?
Okay. I mean, I think Tony, you could have chosen a better thing before. Maybe. I mean, on a similar note.
High Rise.
Anybody familiar? High Rise.
I'm not familiar at all, Jesse. That's great.
Oh wow. So thinking about things being noisy, High Rise is pinnacle of like Japanese psych noise. I don't know. They've got a ton of stuff. They started out with cassettes, and there's some things that like this was a CD that is on vinyl version. Yeah, where to start? Like
I only know like that. Was it High Rise 2? Is that like their most that one? That's crazy.
Yeah, like it's an all black cover and it just says High Rise in silver print on the front.
Yeah,
it's great.
That type is
like,
wild.
Yeah, I don't know where to begin with it. So it's like
it kind of, to me it sounds like if Blue Cheer were like from Japan in like the 90s or something like that.
Yeah. So the bassist vocalist Nanjo-san, Asahiro Nanjo, he started the record label that put out pretty much all their stuff, PSF Records.
Right, yeah.
Can anybody guess what PSF stands for?
Psychedelic Speed Freaks.
Oh, 10 points. Good job.
That was a wild stab in the dark. Sorry.
Yeah, a High Rise record, Psychedelic Speed Freaks. Yeah, so he put out a lot of their stuff cassette-wise as it started, but he also made a name for himself because, like, I was just reading that he would take other bands' recordings, he would like play them through a boombox or something, add a bunch of noise and blow them out, and then release that on his record label as a recording. Yeah, so he's a bit of a maniac,
like Led Zeppelin.
at least. This thing, like, so there's a ton of releases of High Rise stuff out there.
Yeah, all right.
This one is my favorite because it's concise and it's controlled. And one other great thing, I don't know if we can see, but Pill from Lip Cream.
Yes,
drums on this
one. I was gonna bring that up. Yeah.
So he didn't play on all their records,
no.
But he plays on this one. He plays on a few others, and they just feel more together.
He's an amazing drummer.
Yeah. But like, if you can't So like, if you've never heard High Rise, I think Mike's comparison to Blue Cheer sounds great. Like, imagine if you just walk in out of the sweltering summer sun into some bar, and you hear like Blue Cheer turn up to 11 playing in the room beside the bar. Like, that's kind of what this sounds like. It just mumbles and like distortion and heavy drums and just wild guitar solos. This is a great fucking record to just put on and sit back and relax to. So whoever just bought the High Rise record, you might want to look for a copy of this too. This one is on Squealer. Okay. I guess that doesn't focus that well, but originally a CD on PSF, licensed by Squealer Records, which is in Blacksburg, Virginia. So if anybody knows where Blacksburg is, it's the middle of rural Virginia where there's a university. So when I ordered this as a kid, I was just like, or as a kid or like as a 20-year-old or whatever, I was amazed that somebody in Blacksburg was putting out a Japanese psych record. Right. It's pretty wild. Squealer's put out like 3 or 4 High Rise records as CD and LP, which is great. I think most of the LPs are out of print, but the CDs are probably still in print. But yeah, like, this is a great record. Time Bomb Records put out like a yellow covered one. Okay. Yeah, and now Black Editions, I think from Italy, right? They did a reissue of High Rise 2. So you should be able to find that for like decent prices.
High Rise 2 is the one that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, and it's a good one. Yeah. But I mean, for me, Disallow is like the key. Yeah.
That's funny because I didn't know. I knew that Pill had been in the band, but I thought he was just like a live member. I didn't know he had actually recorded some records with them. So
yeah, he recorded a few with them, but not all. Yeah, like they had different drummers over the years, but like the bassist and the guitarist stayed the same.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your description, Mike, of a '90s Japanese band trying to play like Blue Cheer or whatever. I'm not trying to make this comparison between these two bands necessarily, but your description makes me think. I was broken down in Nashville once, and I went to like some random bar, and there was a bunch of fully naked Japanese dudes smashing out fucking Blue Cheer style rock, and it was Electric Eel Shock.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We were just doing an American tour, but they were just naked on stage playing. Like they did Red Hot Chili Peppering it with like suck on their stuff, but they were just like just smashing out just like ridiculous Blue Cheer style rock and roll, and I was like, what? It was like Electric Eel Shock. I think they did a split with like Riverboat Gamblers or something. Maybe they had some U.S. releases in the 2000s or whatever. But anyway, your description just took me to that moment that I'd previously forgotten about, walking into this bar and just being, why are these naked Japanese people smashing this like Blue Cheer style, like really ridiculous rock and roll? And that made me think.
I mean, like similar. So Mainliner. They toured the US a few times. The bassist from High Rise was also a Mainliner. And Mainliner also had the head guy from Acid Mother's Temple, right?
Oh, okay.
So very similar style, but I always feel like High Rise was just more into it. Mainliner was like, the songs never had hooks, but like somehow within this wall of noise, there's hooks when it comes to High Rise. So
nice. Yeah. That's a great.
I keep thinking of Dead Moon. Am I like even in the ballpark?
If you turn Dead Moon way up, like I think Dead Moon feels like if you only had one guy from High Rise, but like with all three of them going, it's just
pulling
your hair back,
so I now live in San Francisco, but when I traveled here from New York, my first time ever here, someone took me to see Dead Moon at a bar. I didn't know what it was at the time. I know where it is now, but Dead Moon, we had to listen outside, or we decided to. It was so fucking loud. It was just, it was great. It was such a good fucking show.
Sounds great. I never saw him live. Wish I did.
Love him so much. Yeah, never.
That shit was fucking nuts, man. It was Bender's. It was Bender's in San Francisco. We were like, I don't know. Anyway, everything that your description kind of took me to that world, and some of the other bands you mentioned, of course. Good shit. I can't wait to check all this shit out. This is really
Yeah, you're
good.
gonna be broke.
I'm already broke.
Broker.
Yeah. Jesse with the segues. Okay.
Yeah. Jesse
So
segue.
that being said,
All right.
I'm going through a broke time, guys.
Yes, Jason. What's your next pick?
Okay, my next pick is a solo project by the guitarist and vocalist of Blood Incantation, Paul Riddell, Oceans of Peace, which I've been listening to. Oh man, it does not look good here, but it is a very beautiful gradient. I can hardly touch it. It's so delicate. It is not. I don't know if I would say it's music per se. It's the Obi strip that comes with it describes it as new age or electronic.
Okay, so
And,
it's more like the last Blood Incantation record.
Yeah.
Other
Dream style.
look at this fucking cut little thing going on here. This is what I want my mind to feel like. So that being said, I'm really into this, and I don't have a lot of records like this, but I respect that person as an artist, so I checked it out, and I'm just gonna do one more of these, but this is the some crazy color. It looks really nice on the turntable. Okay, back to the music. Each side is about 15 minutes, and I was like, there's 2 tracks on the first side. The second side is a 15-minute track, so there's 2 tracks on one side, 1 track on the other, and it is very meditative. It's very relaxing, but it's dark, and I had I don't have a lot of music like this, but it's really taken me to like a really nice place, and I'll just drop the needle on it while I'm doing whatever, and it's great stuff. And I was thinking today, like, you take like a pop band like Radiohead, and you're like, I like that little part you did there, and I just want to hear more of that.
Right.
I just want to hear more of that part, that little fucking
Bleep.
part you did right there. That's what this entire album is.
Right.
It's just like really fantastic, like interludes like that. Totally instrumental, obviously.
Yeah. That was a interesting. I think my friend Pete showed the most recent Blood Incantation record, and we were like, "Oh, this was a left turn." Then we're like, "Well, actually, it wasn't," because you could kind of see it in their like their music anyway, like the psychedelic side of their music. So we were like, "Well, actually, when you really, really think about it, it wasn't as much of a left turn as people are kind of maybe saying it was." Right.
I certainly, I like a lot of harsh music. Like, again, like talked about that Halpoja Finnish record. When you can just like lose your mind and just meditate on something, I'm just like, this is fucking good shit. Whether it's D-beat, whether it's grindcore, whether it's something as like serene as this. That's where I really feel like into music.
Nice. That's new too, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, it's really new. It's like
this is a really good point.
I'll mail you a copy of this psychic meditation music record that I have.
Yeah, I could probably use that right about now.
Yeah, go before I sort of pull it off the wall real fast. You learn, hang around and think about this for a little bit.
Like super handy.
This is a really good point about like the Blood Incantations. What's in my bag episode is like really one of the best ones. Like every record they press. Oh fuck yeah!
Oh hell yeah!
Those dudes have some real good taste. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, last round from like psychedelic freakouts. Let's talk about Dischord records for my last pick. This is going to surprise people, but not as much as it, I maybe surprised myself when I bought this record like last week, how much I love it. Let me build this up a little bit. What was your entry point to Dischord records? Like in real time, like what was the first Dischord record that you bought when it came out? I don't know if you can remember. I can remember for some weird reason. I can remember quite clearly what they were. The two records that are in real time. Tony, you remember?
No, because in real time, I mean, look, I was a metalhead.
Yeah.
From for people that know, I'm 50, so I'm younger than you by a little bit, Mike, but still, older. And the thing is that I missed all of the classic punk and hardcore stuff from late 85 to late 87. I purely was listening to Cinderella and AC/DC and Motley Crue and that kind of stuff.
That's
and then
funny.
from 87, late 87 until late 89 or late 88, it was nothing but just like Slayer, Voivod, Creator,
right.
Angel, like thrash. So I mean, you got to understand, like if we're talking about in real time, by the time I would have even cared to pick up a Dischord record, it would have been 1989 or like late 88.
All right. Okay. That's actually the period that I'm going to talk about. So.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah,
So I mean, when like I saw, was that band Lucy Brown on like Dischord or like back chairs? I mean, that might have been the time period.
High back chairs, yeah. High back chairs.
But I would have even missed 3. I'm sure even when things were being reissued, like 3 and stuff like that, I would have still missed that in real time, like quite a bit.
That's funny because I started on metal and then moved into like anarcho punk, but like that Rhythm Pigs record kind of sums it up. 86, 87, 88 kind of things I was getting into. So I remember like the first 2 Dischord records I bought in real time were like Dag Nasty, Can I Say, and then like Scream, This Side Up, which is like 85, 86, right? I bought those 2 when they came out,
That's
right?
Really,
and
that's really fascinating that
like I was seeing AC/DC and Fastway in that time frame. So no,
I mean, I'd already seen Iron Maiden in like 1980 or 81, so it's like but it's funny. I mean, we're just a little bit older, but it's funny. Like what?
Yeah. It was just where I lived, and there was no cooler person to like say, "Hey, I skateboard. Here's a punk tape." It was just like I was fully living in mullet Iron Maiden world, and then thrash world until I saw like DRI and Crumbsuckers, and then that in 88 I saw DRI and Crumbsuckers, and then that was like, oh, okay, and then everything happened at the same time, like NWA and Minor Threat and Public Enemy, everything at once. But before that, nothing. It was like just heavy metal wasteland.
It kind of leads me to my pick, and like I'm surprised how much I like this record, because there's like this huge like blind spot for me between like 1989 and today of like Dischord records. Like I know nothing about Autoclave and Severin and Hoover and like Slant Six and the high back chairs. Nothing. Never heard of them.
Autoclave is cool. Autoclave is good.
Okay, I've not even heard Blue Tip. So so it was like weird that like just last week I decided to buy a record on Dischord Records that came out. Actually, this is 10 years old already. But there's a Dag Nasty connection to this record. We'll get to it a little bit. But it's fucking Red Hare, man.
Oh, Red Hare, yeah. It's Sean Brown, right?
Sean Brown on vocals, man. It's like nostalgia that I've not heard. I've not heard this record before. But it
is it actually Swizz? It actually is Swizz, right?
It's basically almost Swizz, and it kind of sounds like Swizz, but a little bit more refined and a little bit slower. Man, it's fucking great record. I was shocked by how good it is. It's so good that I ordered like their second record used online, obviously. But fuck yeah, it's like just takes me. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you feel like that's nostalgia because you've heard so many bands influenced by Swizz, and you've heard so many bands influenced by all those Dischord bands, and you're like, oh, this sounds just like all those other bands that I like.
Those Dischord, those like, it's the 80s, like that late 80s period where all these bands are like moving away from like straight hardcore and
right.
Like, and even Fugazi, like the rhythm section you know, and those melodies and like Sean. I hate when I first heard like those Diagnosty songs with Sean Brown. Man, I hated them because I loved like Dave Smalley like, so much.
Yeah,
I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy can't sing. But now I get it. Obviously, like years later.
For me, I mean, that's like the deal with that is I've never liked Sean's vocals for Diagnosty because I just heard the other stuff first.
Right,
and
exactly.
It was just too difficult to go backwards.
Yeah,
because it had already been implanted into my head what it was supposed to say.
Same.
But I will say this: Sean is my least favorite Diagnosty vocalist, but he is my number one favorite Swizz vocalist. That dude was born to be in Swizz. His vocals, he is so powerful and insane. It's just like outrageous.
I mean, seriously, he's like that. He's like that on here too. It's like so powerful. It makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Like his voice.
I saw Swizz do a reunion, like an unannounced reunion, a bunch of years ago, and they just like obliterated. I mean, they came out and just like destroyed the fucking stage like they had never stopped playing. It wasn't like, oh, I saw a Swizz reunion. I'm like, oh no, that's probably what they were fucking like when they were an active band. It was outrageous. It was like they never stopped playing. Crazy fucking good. Like just made every other band fucking cry and go home. Like it's like insane.
We've been talking about Sean Brown, but I think like Jason Farrell is a really important part of the band too. Swizz, Fury, he was in that band Fury too, right?
So good. Yep.
Yeah, man. I've been having like such a good time with this record. Like it takes me back, but it's new to me.
And Jason Farrell's on that too, right?
Yes.
He's also the graphic designer guy, right? Like, doesn't he do? I think he designed like almost all those records and yeah.
Red Hair, Nights of Midnight. There you go. Red Hair, Naughty Nights of Midnight.
Naughty Nights of Midnight. There you go.
Check it out. I mean, I'm like way behind the Discord game, at this stage of my life, but it was this really nice pickup for me, Red Hair.
Mike, I gotta say, like, I really appreciated your segue. Like, you grew up with anarcho punk and like UK punk, and I grew up in the United States, and Dischord. These were things that were introduced to me when I was 14, 15, and it's kind of fascinating because I learned about UK bands, maybe 5 years later than that, so that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose for a lot of people, like 86 was like already kind of late in the Discord game, right? Like,
yeah.
But those Scream records and Diagnosty records, they're still my favorite because they were my first, so what are you going to do? That's my last pick. Red Hair.
Probably around like late 88, I was buying whatever CDs or cassette reissues of like the Minor Threat and like, Diagnosty and stuff like that. I would say, but the first thing that was probably, I remember speaking of Jason Farrell, because I think he designed it, the Ignition Complete Services compact disc. It's like, flashing back to like the COC record and how hyped I was on the artwork for the COC record. That Ignition CD is so perfectly designed. It's just insane. I remember just like staring at it and looking at all the show. It has a list of every show they played. And that was the first like even before Embrace, I think maybe I got the Ignition record and really, really liked that. So
that was my 3 Fire Party, Ignition, Embrace, that kind of era. Yeah,
for sure.
All right, Tony, what's your last pick?
All right, so this is a accident. I had a different thing picked, but somebody traded this record into the store today, and that copy is still at the store. This copy. I've owned, obviously, and it got traded in at the store, and then I blasted it, via Spotify driving home, and I was like, oh yeah, I got to switch out, throw this one in here. It ties into what I was talking about a little bit ago, and also it ties into what you were saying about how far can you go for a certain band, you know what I mean, when it starts to fall apart for you. And I don't want to make any assumptions about you, Mike, but I feel like this is an era. Not for you. I could be
Not
wrong.
for me. Not for me, or for me. Not for me.
No, not for you.
Not
I
for
think.
me.
I
Not
think
for
maybe
me.
this is far,
Okay.
but it ties into the story. What I was saying about being a teenage metalhead. This is like the time period, the perfect time period for me of Scorpion
Oh,
live, right? Like this is so far past the era that is ever discussed by. This is like MTV era, right?
no, this is still acceptable for me.
Still acceptable.
Yeah,
Okay.
still fine.
Yeah. This is like me as a kid with a mullet watching these videos on MTV and just being like obsessed. And every single track on this fucking live record is a banger. And when me and you, Mike, did the live, we did our top 10 live albums. We eventually turned that into being top 10 live punk albums. But before we did that, this was this would have been in the pile. Absolutely. I love this record. It's completely ridiculous. All the songs are just total anthems or ballad, the tier ballad, like style or whatever. The lighter. Yep, exactly. And this is exactly what I was doing in the time frame. This is what I was buying as it was released. Not some cool Dischord records, but Worldwide Live for sure. It says 1985, so yeah, I probably thought it, maybe like late 85 or 86 or something This was.
It's a little bit past, but they still do. The track list is still good though on that record, right? It's like they do a lot of good.
It's very heavy on it's very heavy on like Love It for Sting and
that's my cutoff point for the score.
And Blackout, you know what I mean?
But then again, Blackout is my favorite Scorpions record.
Blackout is like, I had a cassette of Blackout and I played that fucking thing until I would walk around the kitchen with forks. You know what I mean? Like trying to imitate the cover. I'm sure I'm not even close to the only person that did that. I mean, I love Blackout so fucking.
It's incredible.
Love
it.
Sure. I didn't go any further also than Love It for Sting is also where I.
Yeah, I think that's a safe place to.
Yeah, I don't know anything after it, but and then I would go backwards some. Like I had Love Drive.
Yeah, they're all great. Everything's great up until Blackout. Blackout is the cutoff point.
I did not ever fully explore like the earliest. You know what I mean?
Like, you got some homework to do, my young friend.
Yeah, I've listened to it so many times. It's just one of those things where it's like I recognize that they're good records, but when I think about the Scorpions in my mind, it's got to be the Forks in the Eye. It's the era that I just want, from them. Even though I know that we're
sort of talking about 80s versus 70s here, right?
Yeah, for sure. Where it's like with UFO, I will listen to UFO 1 and 2, and when they change, in the changeover, it's like okay for UFO. I can listen to like the whole thing, but for Scorpions, just because in real time, I was like, championing it. That's just the time frame, that I discovered it. So it's harder to go too much further back with it. But anyway, that's it. Scorpions.
Big City Nights. Naughty Night. Naughty Nights, Nights of Midnight, Big City Nights.
Naughty Big City Nights.
Yeah, naughty Big City Nights. All right, Jesse, what's the last thing gonna do?
Yeah, like last one's tough. I have 3 things left. I don't know. I was told that I'm not allowed
if you're
to
smart, you can do a segue.
Yeah, but like these 5-inch CDs are not okay. Like. Or 5-inch LPs. Yeah, they don't play well on my record player. I don't know. But yeah, I guess I think probably I'll bring for my last one. Let me bring it back.
McCoy Tyner.
So yeah, I mean McCoy Tyner, John Coltrane's pianist, or his partner in pianism, however you want to say it. I picked this up when I was in Japan last time. One thing that I love about Japan is that every jazz record is $10 is in like excellent shape, But yeah, so I have a lot of McCoy Tyner. He's definitely my favorite jazz pianist. This one, how to describe it? It's from 73.
It's 70s, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely like after the Coltrane era. when he started with his own groups and stuff. But from early 70s, like 70 to 75 was like those peak post-bop times and stuff. This one starts off like with just percussion and a violin, and the violin is just playing octaves. It's just very mysterious and weird, but then it all just starts in, and it sounds like you're listening to a Coltrane album or something. The saxophonist is Sonny Fortune.
Yeah.
You guys have any Sonny Fortune stuff?
I had one of his records. Yeah.
Okay, I have none of his stuff, but now I'm definitely out for it.
He's more of a sideman, I would say.
I think I have a Sonny Fortune record over there, maybe, but I don't own that. I have other McCoy Tyner records, but not that one. So
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. So like Sonny Stitt, he's great. I mean, but Sonny Fortune sounds like he's channeling vibes, you know, of Coltrane and more like maximalist type sax players and stuff. But this one, yeah, it starts off very slow and calm, but it gets so wild as it gets going. I was just thinking as I listened to it, it's like riding on the back of a butterfly. This is my jazzy journey. Yeah. Seriously, Tyner, like his bass chords on the left hand just keeps a steady pulse and everything's going throughout the whole record, but then everything is like in the air and you're going up and down and you're flying all over and everything. It's just a really, really good journey with this dude. So, I mean, yeah, the second side has the title track, Song for My Lady. It's really good stuff. And then as you just go through and everything and like experience the whole deal, the last track ends the same way the first track begins. So like it was a clear, conscious choice when it came to sequencing and like the whole album as a whole. So I really appreciate when I can listen to a whole thing all the way through and get that feeling of like, wow, I've actually done something with my 40 minutes, right? So yeah, you know, if you like jazz, if you like bebop, then this is your thing. Like this is a great record. $10 in Japan, probably at least $30 in the US.
400 or 500.
Yeah. I mean, for the shape, at least $30 in the US. Who knows? You know, for a beater, probably 30. But yeah, McCoy Tyner's just amazing stuff. Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, jazz was kind of dead in the 70s, right? So all those big names were going to Europe and like just doing what the hell they wanted. Right. They were recording all the stuff. There's a McCoy Tyner the live record from that period, which is just absolutely incredible. With him like over the piano, with like sweat pouring off of him. It's a heavy duty like thrasher of a record, that one. It's intense.
Yeah. No, I love looking at like the shots from the studios on a bunch of these records too, because it just makes jazz look dirty and dangerous and like holy shit, you know, it's just like this poorly lit photo of a guy playing saxophone into a corner. You know, it's just really weird. So,
dude, I'm here to say it, jazz is fucking punk. You know what I mean? Every time we do one of these, I meander to the jazz section and think like, oh, you know, I don't want it to all be punk and hardcore or like all rock, you know, records that I choose. But then I'm looking at like 600 jazz records and I'm like, well, how do I pick one that I want to just like listen to and talk about on this? It's impossible. So maybe we'll have to do like
they're all punk,
old jazz edition. You know, sometimes I don't know how I would pick one, you know, insane. I don't even know how I would pick 5, but like I could at least get my head around picking 5, you know, a little bit better than just trying to throw one in there. But yeah, McCoy Tyner, man. I've never heard that. I don't have that record, you know, so
like all his records from the 70s are really good.
Yeah. Solid stuff. Yeah, and I mean his accompanyists too are just like very good choices.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great one.
Yes. All right. The last pick of the day is falls on Jason's heavy shoulders.
I was hoping I anticipated a Crust album that I really wanted to have on the show, but I just feel like I just naturally have to go with this one. I
think I know what it's going to be.
And I'm going to start off with this. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to guess what it might be.
I'm going to start with a story. I was probably like 11 or 12. I was leaving, ironically, my cousin's communion. I was in the car. I was in the back seat, and I heard this voice that was just like holy fucking crap. And, you know, I'm talking a pop star that used their platform to say something. So I'm going to go with this.
Yeah, that was my guess. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was my
Yeah.
guess.
So this album and other songs mean a lot to me. What a voice. What a weapon. I mean, it's hard. It's sad. So additionally, shit. Really was treated like shit. And really had some strong convictions. I was thinking of, you know, some other memories. I was probably, you know, that other story. I used to watch Saturday Night Live a lot. My dad had like this jazz tavern, and I used to have to run upstairs and watch Saturday Night Live, and I was probably like 13 or 14, and I caught that moment live with, you know, when she denounced the Catholic Church of Ireland, and I thought it was like really impressive. I was even at that age, and I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for Sinead O'Connor, and I still do. And I also feel really sad about how shitty she was treated, or misunderstood, for that matter.
Yeah.
You know, you could say, like, I mean, on this album alone, some of the I watched a documentary recently, and someone said it. I didn't say it, but they put it into words perfectly. Someone that can go from a whisper to a scream in like half a second, and like I was thinking of. I'm all over the place in my brain right now, but I remember, like, you know, Fear was on Saturday Night Live, and they started a mosh pit on Saturday Night Live. It was like, you know, whoa, like so fucking rebellious, so punk rock. And then I remember being a kid and watching Faith No More. Mike Patton climbed into the fan, and like that blew my mind. I was like, this guy, like, he broke the stage, and he went and climbed in the fan, and then I saw Sinead O'Connor do that.
Yeah,
and learn more about it. And I also saw the Dylan 30th anniversary concert, you know, and you know, she was booed by people that you're at a fucking. I mean, I'm not like a huge Bob Dylan fan. You know, folk music. I like some of it, but you're the hypocrisy of that, or the irony of that, and just like what a strong person, like throughout all of it, like, you know, punk as fuck.
Yeah, it's tough. Been a tough week, because I remember when that first single and the first record came out. It was like not really heard anything quite like that before, and it was a big deal in England. And,
Yeah.
Okay, here's someone who is a pop star, for want of a better term, who is not your typical, like. I'm not the person to be doing the eulogy here, because I didn't follow her career, but Jason, you did it perfectly, so I don't really need to kind of say much about it. But yeah, it was same age as me, 56 too. So, but yeah, it's really sad. It's really, really sad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, who does anything perfectly, except she sang songs perfectly, as far as I've heard. But yeah, a pop star that used their platform
Right.
to constantly say whatever the fuck they wanted, and it was always misinterpreted as some sort of disrespect, you know, to you know, we were in we were in like Desert Storm, Desert Shield, like fucking how dare you not have the national anthem played at your concert, and like wow, the level of like constant conflict that they're, everybody, everybody wants to fight me. Everyone wants to fight me, and she just fucking stood there. It's pretty badass, and I'm
Yeah.
So that's why I had a couple ideas. Doesn't even matter. This is the one that felt good for the show.
Perfect.
Yeah, great record.
Forever.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Life's short, man. Life's short. But I don't want to end this on a dark note. So I want to like ask a question to everybody. Like, if everyone hates Diagnosty Field Day so much, why can't I find a copy used? Like I had this. I just wanted to ask everyone who's watching and here tonight. It's like, fuck. Why can't I find a copy of it? Everybody hates it. Why can't I find a copy?
It's
a rhetorical question. Nobody has to.
My favorite, for those that don't know me, my favorite Diagnosty record. I like it better than every other one. Peter Kortner is my favorite Diagnosty vocalist, and then Field Day is my favorite Diagnosty record. Doesn't mean I don't like the other stuff. You know what I mean? Just that I don't know, something in the water in Baltimore just made everybody like All and Field Day and stuff like that. I have no clue what happened. Just did, and I really, really love that record. So, and I don't see it used very, very often either.
Everyone hates it. But nobody's selling it.
I mean, Giant put it out. It wasn't like they only pressed 500 of them. There were many copies of it.
It's even on a fucking major label. What's the deal? Yeah. Come on, help a guy out here.
I'm gonna find you a copy. Absolutely gonna find you a copy. So.
It can't be that hard to find a copy of.
It's been a long time. It's been over 2 years since a random used copy came into the store. It's just like nowadays, it's like the only people that have it are people that do like it. I guess I don't know. They don't want to.
I don't want to part with it.
The other copies have all been destroyed. Like over the years. I guess
have it like it.
Around.
It.
All right, that was a really great episode. I had a great time. Let me just announce next week our Pists coming back on. The Pists have a new album coming out. They're recording it now.
Hell yeah.
Jim Martin, Jordan Atkins, come back on next Friday, August 4th, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Tune in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming on. And let's dedicate this episode to Sinead O'Connor, shall we? I don't know
Absolutely.
if she would appreciate red hair or the naughty nights. I think, you know what? I think she would, I think she would. All right. Until next time, stay healthy. That's important. Stay healthy.
Nice to see you guys.
Sprouts. Especially you, Tony. You showed the Sprouts record. Eat your Sprouts. No friends. Until next time, stay healthy.
That's the one I remember to get.
There you go. Stay clean. There you go.